Hello, this is a short video concentrating on the air brake test for the CDLB 2023, meaning bus, school bus, tour bus. I have another video that covers the full inside pre-trip. If you want to check it out, it also has an explanation of why we do the things we do on the brake test and how the actual air brake system works in the bus. That is something that you should look at. But if you want to just practice the brake test itself, which is probably the most important part of the test, because now in 2023 they want you to do it first. So the first thing you're going to do is sit in the driver's seat, and the examiner is going to look at you performing the air brake test. And if you missed any of the steps, you're done, and you're going to tell you have to come back and do the whole thing again. So I have a few tips, two important ones. The first thing you're going to do when you park your bus and you're at the test site, you're going to shut off the engine and you're going to pump down the air pressure on the tank. Bring it down to below 90, which is normally when the compressor would kick on and build up that pressure until it shuts off or cut off at around 120 to 140, because they want to know that that's working, and you're going to tell them, I'm looking for that pressure to build up and then shut off at around 120 to 140. The other thing that's important is people say you can walk and chew gum at the same time. This case, probably not a good idea. So for each step that you do, I want you to tell the examiner what you're going to do in words, and then actually do the step. That makes it easy for you to concentrate on what you have to say and all the pressures you have to remember, and then actually concentrate on doing the stuff instead of trying to do it at the same time. So the examiner came into the bus with you, is sitting over there in the first seat most likely. And you're going to tell them, okay, your belt would be off. You're going to tell them my seat is adjusted for me, and my mirrors are also adjusted for me because I drove the bus to the test site, obviously with somebody else with a CDL, your instructor probably. And I'm going to say that my belt is in good shape. It's not frayed or broken. And it also latches correctly. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the electric on the bus, and I'm going to look at my dashboard and look for my ABS light. That's my anti-lock brake system light. It has to come on and then go off after a few seconds. If it stays on, that means the ABS is not working, so I wouldn't take the bus. I'm turning my electric, and there's the ABS light. It just came on, and it just went off. That means my ABS is working. The next thing I'm going to do is turn on my engine so that I can build up the pressure to between 120 and 140. And the pressure now is around 100, I would say. I'm going to have it in my fast idle so that the compressor can build up the air faster. And in most vehicles, you're going to hear the actual cutoff when it goes. That means the compressor stopped and the tanks are full. I don't know if you're going to be able to hear it in this particular vehicle. The pressure is now around 120. And we're now about 130, and I think I heard the cutoff, but you probably hear it in a school bus better. Now, since I have a pressure that is between 120 and 140, and my tank is full, I'm going to shut off my engine, bring down the RPMs first with the idle. I'm shutting the engine off, and I'm going to turn my electric back on so that my needles for the air pressure are working. And I'm going to release the parking brake. If I were in a surface that was not level like this one, I would chalk the wheels. We don't need to do that because we're in a level surface. So I'm going to release the brake, simulating going down the road, obviously without the parking brake engaged. And I'm going to put pressure on my foot brake, which is my service brake. And I'm going to look for a minute. And I should not lose, after the initial little bit of loss that I had, I should not lose more than 3 psi in 1 minute. I'm starting now. My foot is on the brake, and go. At this point, most likely the examiner is going to say, okay, let's assume the minute went by, and you would continue. If not, they might have you do the full minute. After the minute, you're going to say, okay, the minute has passed. I haven't lost any more than 3 psi in that minute, so I'm going to continue to the next the next step, which is fanning the brakes or pumping the brakes, so that I purposely make the pressure go down, and I should have a warning light come on at 55 pounds of pressure or above. I'm going to start doing that, and I'm just pumping the brake, and there's an audible alarm, and there's my light telling me that my pressure is low, and it came up around 60, I would say. Now, the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to continue to pump my brakes until my emergency brake pops up. And that should happen between 45 and 20 psi. So if I'm going down the road and I lose the pressure and for some reason my alarm is not working and I'm not paying attention, the bus will break itself. It will pop, and if I'm going 60 mile an hour on the highway, it's going to lock the brakes and really slam on the brakes, and my passengers could get hurt. That's why I'm looking for my warning lights. If that happens going down the road, I'm going to know that I'm losing pressure. Give me time to pull over to a safe spot. Okay, I'm going to continue. And I'm around 40, and you couldn't hear it. This is a very soft one. Normally you will hear the pop. It did pop, but unfortunately you couldn't hear it. So my brakes, my emergency brake is working. So I'm going to turn on the engine again and put it on high idle so that my pressure will start to build up again. In many buses, when the engine is off, you will not have an audible alarm. You will have definitely the light come on, like I said, at 55 or above. And then when you turn on in a school bus, when you turn back on, you will hear the buzzer also, and you can mention that to the examiner. So while the pressure is building up, I can start talking about other dashboard elements. For instance, I'm going to make sure that my light indicators are working. So my left turn signal is working. My right turn signal is working. My four-ways indicators are working. My high beam is working. If you were in a school bus, you would also mention the fact that you have the 8-way system. You would turn on your master. You would turn on your light, the yellow lights, and say my indicators are working. They're probably up here. And then you're going to open the door and say my red light indicators are working. And I can also see my stop sign is working on my mirror, and my crossing arm in the front is also working. I can see it. Then you're going to close the door. At some point you might have to, when you shut the engine off, you might have to go in the back and push the child safety check, the button, because if not, your school bus is going to light up like a Christmas tree if you don't do that. So the other things that we can, okay, my pressure is now around 135. I don't know if you could hear, but it goes psh. It did cut off, and I'm full. The system is full. Now I want to do 2 more tests to the air brake test. 2 more tests. The first one is going to make sure that my parking brake is holding the bus. If I ever have to park in an incline, I want to know that my bus is not going to roll down the hill. So with the parking brake engaged, my engine is on, obviously. I'm going to put it in gear. And in some cases, you have to release the brake, put it in gear, and then pull the parking brake again. You have to know what your vehicle does, but you have to be with the parking brake engaged and in gear. I'm going to put pressure on my gas pedal, rev it up to around 1200 RPM, and the vehicle should not move. I'm doing that now, and the vehicle did not move. That means my parking brake is working. Now I'm going to test my service brake, which is my foot brake, and going 3 to 5 mile an hour, I'm going to put pressure on the brake, and I should not feel my steering wheel going to either side or any jerkiness on the brakes. That means my brakes are working properly. I'm going to release the parking brake. Sometimes you have to release the safety. And I'm going about 5 miles an hour. I'm applying pressure to my brake. The steering wheel did not move to either side. I didn't feel anything wrong with the brakes. Put my brakes on, neutral, and that concludes my test of the air brake system. That's it. Obviously, it might be shorter when you do it. I did a lot of talking. But I want you to understand that you want to do all the steps in the order that they want, and you have to explain what you're doing and what you're looking for. And it's better to do it at each step, talk about it, explain what's going to happen, and then do it. And that takes care of it. I hope this helps, and good luck in your life and your endeavors.